So per the internet, I am a spinster, I am a witch, I am a childless cat lady, I am a sociopath with no stake in this country, and I am destroying civilization and the furthering of humanity by
not having children.
Can I just say, one, I don't have a cat, and two, I live in California. Do you know how much I pay in taxes? Not only do I have stake in this country, at this point I'm a shareholder. Welcome to Tyler's Kitchen, the show where today we are unpacking the current media war on child-free women. And today we are doing a niche baby shower recipe called bassinet sandwiches. So if you haven't been following the Diary of a CEO drama, let me catch you up because that's what inspired me to make this video. So Diary of a CEO is this famous podcaster named Stephen Bartlett. He has the #1 podcast in Britain right now with over 50 million listeners on Spotify. But in December 2025, he has on this guy, Chris Williamson, who is also another male podcaster. And keep these key details in mind. This guy is in his 30s and he does not have children. Bookmark that. But this episode was about productivity, it was about the new year, but then all of a sudden, like they always fucking do, they get into shit that's not their business.
Why is that? Why don't we have kids?
I certainly think that there is a anti-family message that comes about, that there's a girl with the list on TikTok, which I think is this girl who wrote 350 reasons to not have kids. It's like 8 pages, 9 pages long, and she is open to seeing the world as she wishes. I think by the sounds of things, it is a really good idea that she's not a mother, and I'm glad that she's choosing to not have kids. But that tone, that sentiment is like prevalent.
I don't know what it is with these weird like productivity biohacking motherfuckers, but they always have to shift the conversation to the birth rate. And then, get this, they start heckling my homegirl Abigail. You guys know her, the girl with the list. She was on my last episode. And they start lamenting how her videos are so sad and mean, and they're glad that she will never have children because she would not be a good mother. She's like a personal friend of mine, and she's like genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever met. So this already was something I was paying attention to because like, you're gonna come for my girl like that, I'm gonna come for you. To say Abigail is not a fit mother, she is mother. And the thing about this is like, I don't know if this Stephen Bartlett guy necessarily is a red pillar, but he keeps platforming red pillars and then he never once challenges them. He doesn't ask like, oh, are these facts you're telling me actually true? He doesn't check anything anybody says to him. He just goes, wow, that's so interesting. Same thing with like a Joe Rogan type. Like, just to platform anyone and not challenge them is like sus. Even for me, I know that I could probably interview people who are crazy, but I think there are a lot of people who I'm not smart enough to actually debate. Like, I don't want to be having crazy people on my show and not be able to debunk them in real time. Because there's like a responsibility. I think this struck a nerve for a lot of people because they were just villainizing child-free women for like basically this made-up panic about the birth rate. And it's just so ironic because these are 2 child-free men in their 30s. That's like when I watch Project Runway and I yell at the TV for them having a loose seam allowance. Honestly, I don't even know what that is. Maybe me trying to identify the anatomy of a sewing machine is like Stephen Bartlett trying to identify the anatomy of a woman. So Abby is a content creator who has a list of over 350 reasons why she does not want to have children. And she's an unfit mother and a bad person, but you are too busy traveling and podcasting and that's valid? Interesting. Men be like,
I can't, I gotta focus on my Sky Miles. I can't settle down right now, babe. I'm so close to being a gold member.
You know what? I will say it's good for everybody that people aren't settling down before they're ready. You know what people used to do when they had kids before they were ready? Have you ever seen a little show called Mad Men? Go watch a season and come back and tell me that you just think everybody should be defaulting to having babies all the time. So you want to make your sandwich like normal. I think so it sits, I'm actually gonna cut out the center a little bit. I'm gonna hollow it out just to make this like a seamless integration. So you're just kind of making like a normal turkey sandwich. This is very much my speed. I feel like Subway. I feel like a sandwich artist. This is kind of fun. I just threw a couple slices on there. Is it crazy that sometimes I don't wash my produce on purpose because I want to strengthen my immune system? Like my health is really, really off whack. And in my head, I think if I just eat my produce without washing it, it might help. And that's one of those things where putting out a wrong opinion is gonna be better than Google because you guys are gonna correct me. Wow, I'm not good at cutting these tomato slices evenly. These are like all over the place. That's probably because this isn't the correct knife to be using, but I don't think I have that many knife options. And you know what? That's fine. It's always something with you people. You're like, ugh, your knife's not sharp enough. You're using it wrong. That's the wrong kind of knife. It's like, let's just be nice. Give mama a break. She's tired. So after this clip goes viral, people are digging and finding more problematic Diary of a CEO clips. About a year ago, he had on a psychiatrist named Dr. Alec. Let's watch the clip.
There is a whole generation of men that is like, we are literally watching them die out. We've got 32-year-olds, 35-year-olds who do not have children, do not know how they're going to ever have children. Some people like, just put yourself out there, just work out, work on yourself, and things will work out. But they have something in their tendency for social anxiety that allows them to put forth effort and succeed. And then there are these other people over here who will go to therapy, who will work on themselves professionally, who will show up on dating apps. And because of the shape of their face or some other thing which they're not even aware of, there's this whole crop of people who are trying really hard. I don't think they're losers. I don't think they're like pathetic or anything like that. I think there's something about the architecture of how these people are built so that standard advice does not apply to them. I almost wonder, is there a mechanism in a human being that if your genes know they're dying out, what would they trigger in your mind, right? And I think what they would trigger is exactly what we're seeing. This like existential panic, angst, even aggression, entitlement. Because if these men do not behave in this way, they are literally going to die out.
Ugh, this isn't even the worst clip I've seen. The one that was really circulating
Is the one where they're like, well, what should we do about these men not being able to find partners? I think the government should assist.
like, what are you talking about? And just so you know, for every man that's single, statistically, there's also a woman that's single. But you know why we don't talk about that? Because women, when they're single, they pick up a hobby. When men are single, we never hear the end of it. What do you want? Government subsidized Tinder premium? Democratized Raya for all? So these incels you're championing can, like, I don't know, get laid? So I've made my sandwich, basically just a normal turkey sandwich. The recipe said to make an egg salad, and I just thought that was gross, and nobody needs to be doing that. And you'll notice I didn't put any like dressings on here because what I'm gonna do next is very questionable behavior. I need this to like shut really completely. I think it'll be fine. But basically what this recipe wants me to do, this is such a weird recipe, is it calls for me to cover it in cream cheese, all of it. I feel like there is such a war on single and child-free women right now that you can't even go on the internet and express your personal experience without getting bombarded by hate and anger. I've even experienced this. Like, I'll just post a take that's like kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke about dating men. Every video I post, I get, good luck with your cats. This isn't gonna age well in 30 years for you. You're just saying this because you're bitter and single. Now, listen, I've been single and I've been not single, and I'm pretty happy both ways. Anyway, so this artist, Violet Claire, which by the way, I love her content, she ended up posting a random little photo on Threads where she said, I live alone in a cottage, I'm 39, no kids, no partner, and I am happy. That's it, that's it. If you were expecting more, nope, that's all she said. So this girl's post goes viral, and these are the comments that she received. Sounds sad to me. The lack of family is going to be a potential problem later in life. I feel like people go out of their way to show how happy they are without children. It's probably that they want kids and never got the chance. Bro, are you not allowed to be happy unless these people are living by your very specific conventions of what a happy and appropriate life is? Like, what is she supposed to do? Never share? Are you not allowed to have social media unless you have children? Like, this is so confusing. What a crazy take. If you ask me, I think the root of all these hate comments is people are just mad that she owns real estate and you don't. I mean, to own a cottage as a single woman, that's pretty badass. Just saying. I gotta say, I think I'm jealous of her. Maybe I'm gonna start leaving hate comments from a burner account. So I think I'm supposed to microwave this cream cheese so it's a little more spreadable, which makes me a little nervous. Melted cream cheese, that sounds a little gross, but here we go. So now you're just gonna frost your sandwich to be pink, and if you're having a boy baby, you do it blue. But this is my child-free bassinet cake. See, it's gonna look like a pink little crib, and you can decorate it too, I saw. You can like put stickers or like decorations on it that imply that it's a baby shower sandwich. Now, the image I saw online, they were really generous with the cream cheese, which would really scare me. If I pull up to the function and see this, I'm gonna be a little scared, but that's kind of the era of this show that we're on. Like, I'm really into retro recipes, and most of them are a little daunting. And I actually skipped a lot of steps by buying whipped cream cheese because I knew it would be easy to spread, because I'm big brain like that. I've been doing the show long enough to pick up on a few things. Here's another example. There was a woman named Emily Hart who posted basically the same thing. I'm 37 years old, never married, no kids, and she posts a montage of her traveling. It gets 16 million views and the comments rip her to shreds. Now, notice how she didn't post, if you have kids, you're such an idiot loser. She posted, this is my life, and it's been good. But morons on the internet have to be like personally attacked by this, being like, this is different from my very specific set of beliefs and experiences, so what you're saying is hateful and untrue. God, I hate the internet sometimes. Talk about bean soup theory. And while we're on the topic, if you want to talk about people who hate child-free women, if you want to talk about the war on child-free women, let's look at our own vice president. Nobody is more anti-child-free women than the vice president, JD Vance himself. He's made hundreds of disparaging comments against women who choose to live their own lifestyle. Like literally, he is obsessed with attacking childless cat lady. That was a viral clip. Childless sociopaths, the most deranged and psychotic commentators, people with no direct stake in this country. Like, he's literally campaigned off of calling Democratic leaders like this whole fear-mongering around childless radicals. He's proposed tax exemptions for people who have more than X amount of children. Remember, he was proposing like a special medal of honor for women who have enough children? That's crazy. He works directly with the Heritage Foundation, which is dead set on trying to make women just be incubators of new babies. If that doesn't tell you where the current shift in culture is going right now, I don't know what will. Because to me, that's terrifying. But let's talk about why child-free women are making the men so angry right now. Why is a woman posting about her cottage and her dog warranting 16 million angry comments? Why is the girl with the list being heckled to 50 million Spotify listeners? You guys have heard of the fertility crisis, the idea that civilization is crumbling because the women aren't having enough babies. It's everywhere. It's in politics, it's in media, and it's on the world's biggest podcasts. And the messaging is never, why are women not having babies? Maybe we should build more social support nets. Maybe we should make the world a more positive place for women to bring children into it. Maybe we should think about things like paid time off. Maybe we should think about things like lowering hospital charges. Like, there are a million different ways that they could more positively be solving this issue. These are more important topics that if you really gave a damn, about this whole declining birth rate BS, you would be thinking, how can I support women, instead of thinking, how can I use this as a scapegoat to attack women relentlessly? The UN's own 2025 State of the World Population Report says coercive pronatalism violates human rights, and their finding was that 1 in 5 people globally can't have the number of children they want because of housing costs, childcare, parental leave, and unstable jobs. And at the same time, the same politicians who are screaming about birth rates are anti-immigration, which historically, if you're so stressed out about the population numbers, that's a pretty easy fix. And also, we've seen multiple other first world countries having a population decline and they're fine. So I don't think this ever was actually about babies. I think this is about controlling women, because when a woman isn't having babies, she is so much harder to control. Before I keep going, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, Surfshark, because I think in this day and age, it is more important than ever to keep it low key. Surfshark is a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. And the short version is it encrypts all your internet activity so nobody can see what you're doing online. Not your network, not hackers, not the targeted ad who saw you searching, is this color discharge normal at 2 a.m.? Personally, I use Surfshark for 2 things specifically. One, I work from coffee shops a lot, and public Wi-Fi is genuinely like a hacker's Coachella. But Surfshark encrypts everything, so even if somebody were snooping on my network, they get nothing. And 2, I am known to use it for streaming purposes when I travel. Sorry. Right now, my boyfriend and I are binging Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I take no breaks, no days off. I love that Surfshark has 3,200 servers in over 100 countries. So you just pick a location, connect, and suddenly you have access to a completely different content library anywhere in the world. It works on unlimited devices on one account. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's zero risk to try it. And right now you can get 4 extra months free. Go to surfshark.com/TylerB or use code TylerB at checkout. Links in the description. Okay, let's get back to it. But I also find it interesting that historically, this is nothing new. The cat lady insults, the spinster shaming, the idea that a woman is like a danger, a threat, something's wrong with her if she's not having children. Like, we've been dealing with this for hundreds of years. Like, did you know the word spinster actually started as a legal term in the 18th century? And the term itself actually came from the fact that women were literally working as spinsters, and that's a way they could support themselves without husbands. But very quickly, when it was convenient, it became a term to weaponize. By the Victorian era, they decided it was a word to describe a woman who was bitter, shriveled up, and had failed her purpose as a woman. One Victorian writer described spinsters as women who lavish all that is left of affection in her withered heart onto their cats and parrots. I don't know, bro, maybe she just really likes her cats and parrots. Also, I gotta say, withered heart goes crazy. And honestly, with the radiation poisoning happening back then, her heart very well could have been withered. Literally, just saying. Another trope that we often see being used and weaponized against child-free women, single women, is the witch. I mean, this goes back as far as medieval Europe. I mean, even look into the Salem witch trials. Like, often the women who were accused were old, they were single, they were outspoken, they didn't have a husband. These were often the women being accused. And even better than that, these were often women who had property under their names. So not only were they single, they were also powerful by themselves, which people hate to see. I mean, just look at media tropes. The witch is a woman who rides around cackling, who's not conventionally attractive, who's older, who's single, who has a black cat. Like, duh. In 1905, artist William Henry Elam published an anti-suffragette postcard depicting an angry, screaming cat holding a sign with the caption, "The suffragette, down with the tomcats." Women who wanted to vote were depicted as unruly cats. Or have you seen the old suffragette cartoons where it's like sad dads pushing around babies because it was like, my woman wanted to be the man? Like, I'm hearing that same signaling. The cat lady jokes, we're seeing the same thing. Literally witch cartoons, we're seeing the same thing. Like, how are we in a day and age where we're literally repeating century-old derogatory memes toward women? I thought we moved past this. It's like anytime women try to advocate for themselves, it's weaponized and rebranded as she's actually not fighting for rights for women. She's just taking out her anger from being lonely and old. And when the vice president is saying that, now it's propaganda. And this wouldn't be my take without a little bit of data behind it. In August 2025, the Wheatley Institute at Brigham Young University, which is, as you could guess, a conservative think tank, released a book called Get Married: Why Americans Must Defy the Elites, Forge Strong Families, and Save Civilization. Ugh. BYU be like, freshman, it's time to settle down. You're 18 years old now, you've done math 1010, it's time to get serious. Anyway, they released a survey saying married mothers are twice as likely to be very happy as single child-free women. But here's the gotcha. Their own data shows that the happiness advantage comes from marriage, not from babies. Married women without kids have almost the same happiness as married mothers. Motherhood itself, per their own study, is associated with less personal time, less marital satisfaction, and more loneliness. 58 to 59% of mothers say they wish they had more time alone. That's in their own study. And you know what? I bet the other 40% were too busy figuring out the right Miss Rachel YouTube video to play for their babies to answer the damn survey. And let's be real, let's consider the source. Brigham Young had 58 wives throughout his life. The Mormon Church releasing a study saying babies is good for you is like Charlie XCX releasing a Substack where she says Coke is good for you. Another study I found by the Family Journal, not a Mormon university, found a positive association between childlessness and life satisfaction for child-free adults. Another study, the General Social Survey, the largest ongoing sociological study in the US, found mothers are 6 to 8 percentage points less happy in their marriages than childless women. And that gap gets worse when the kids are still at home. Now, I'm not saying this means don't have children. I'm not dunking on people who do have children, but I am saying this whole propaganda of like women not having children, they're gonna be sad and they're gonna be vacant and it's gonna ruin your life and you're gonna spend the rest of your days. You have until 30 to make this decision, and if you don't make it, you'll be sad the rest of your life. Data shows you that the opposite is true. So there's this big push, and I feel it myself, that women are like this ticking time bomb to turn 30, otherwise you're f***ed. And science says the opposite. Here's my take on this. I grew up in a culture where the plan was literally like, this is what you do. You get married, you have babies, that's your life. And it's kind of sad because like I didn't choose that for myself, but I know a lot of my friends who I grew up with chose it before anything else because that's what they were taught. Like I knew women who were just brilliant and decided to just push that away to be women because it was presented to them as the only option. And I have no problem with choosing that for your lifestyle, like if that's what you want to do. But I feel like when this is pushed as the priority, it takes away the choice for women to explore their personal interests and passions, especially at a young age. Like these women that I was friends with were like right out of high school, they were like, no, this is just what I'm gonna do. You don't wanna learn who you are? Because I feel like I'm still figuring out who I am. How could I possibly be like, I don't know, raising children and like mentoring them if I haven't even had a chance to like live my own life? Like how can you give life before you've lived yours? I don't know. I just think this propaganda push is so scary because that shouldn't be the only option. That shouldn't even be the first option. That should just be a option. So listen, I don't care if you have 10 kids. I don't care if you have 0 kids, but I do care that you got to make that decision for yourself and you were not guilted into it by the fucking government or some asshole with a podcast. And it's just really scary to me that like we're building a propaganda machine and we're slowly getting people more and more comfortable with the idea of like scapegoating women for the societal issues. Like you're 30, single, and you literally do a podcast as a job. Like what the we're two sides of the same coin, motherfucker, and you're blaming me for it. I also think there's an element where these guys are just jealous that they can't have babies. Like, if you're so worried about it, go adopt a kid. A woman choosing to not have children is such like an independent, fierce choice. Like, you can't govern a woman who doesn't have children. If you have a wife and she doesn't have children, she's not tied to you in that same way. You can't completely have a say on everything in that way. And I think because women are advancing our position on the world stage, it's scary to men. It's scary to men when you choose not to have children because that's something that will inevitably kind of like make you easier to control. And so I think that's what the push against this is. So because these men feel threatened by women being independent and having free will, they choose to label her a spinster, a witch, an anti-family, immoral goblin. And then they go on podcasts to tell us that we should be forced by the government to date incels off of Reddit. I feel like this is a different century, same playbook. On a lighter note, this wasn't even a funny video. This was just a rant because I feel attacked as a woman in society, but whatever. Let's try this sandwich. I bet it's gonna be delish. It looks, see, look, doesn't it look like you'd put a baby in there? Could you imagine bringing this to the baby shower? Look, it's a crib like a baby, and you could probably like put like a Barbie in it or something. Kind of just looks like a weird like amorphous object. I mean, it didn't look that pretty even in the example photo, so I'm not gonna say this is a fail. You know what, if I brought this to a baby shower and I put like little sticks in it that said like baby time, new baby, and I really sold it to people like I was excited about it, I think people would be like, oh my gosh, you are so creative and cute, Tyler. People like when you do something creative. This isn't even a good piece. That doesn't even have turkey in it. That's a despicable amount of cream cheese that nobody should be using in this way. Maybe this would have been better with egg sandwich. Guys, I wanna know, what are your thoughts on this? Are you child-free? Do you have children? I wanna know your experience. Tell me in the comments all about this. And I will see you in the next video. If you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And if you actually liked it, give it a share on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I love giving you some love over there, resharing, and bye.